Hey everyone, Lindsay here, and welcome to the third and final installment of Vacation VHS Haul. And this VHS Haul's tapes are all horror, so let's get started. This one I picked up just because the cover is so crazy and funny. I couldn't resist. It's called Captured. And the little blurb at the top says, "It's Carmageddon."
Your fingers are your hand! Give me your fingers!
It's from the producer of Wishmaster and Scanners, and it stars Nick Mancuso and Andrew Divoff. And there is no description or anything on the back. It's kind of a double cover. The description on IMDb says, a car thief breaks into a man's house who is on a low because his career is being taken away. I don't know what that means. The man locks up the thief in the car and tortures him. So that sounds interesting.
He killed my brother. If you give him the gun, he'll kill me and he will kill you too.
But yeah, on this side of the cover, it's kind of holographic, so it might be hard to see. He's chained to the front of the car. In this one, he's just in the car screaming. It says, "Evil is in the driver's seat." And it's also on the license plate. You can see that.
I did what any law-abiding, self-respecting citizen would have done.
No law-abiding citizen would cut my fingers off.
Up next, we have the classic Brad Pitt film, Cutting Class. No more pencils, no more books, no more teachers' dirty looks. High school can be murder. Just ask Paula. Her overprotective father disappears during a weekend hunting trip. She's been romantically pursued by a creepy classmate who recently graduated from a mental institution. Okay. Her jealous jock boyfriend is looking for any reason to release his juvenile rage. The lecherous school principal is after her tight student body, and her friends and teachers are rapidly falling victim to a silent, shadowy mass murderer. As the body count rises, Paula begins to suspect that any one of her reckless suitors could be the twisted killer. But unless she learns his identity soon, her high school education will quickly come to a very nasty end. This is 91 minutes. It stars Donovan Leitch, Jill Schoelen, Brad Pitt, Roddy McDowall, and Martin Mull. And it came out in 1988, I believe, 1988, 89. Well, it says here it was shot in 1987, but it wasn't released until 1989. Jill Schoelen and Brad Pitt met on the set of this and got engaged, but they were never married.
Not until your grades improve.
And this one has made the rounds on several different YouTube channels, but I have yet to sit down and watch it in its entirety. I don't know if I will. It doesn't seem that interesting to me.
What is this? Survival class?
Cutting Class.
Cutting class.
Up next, we have another creature feature that could have been in with Part 2's videos, but I didn't want to overload that, so I stuck it in with the horror films. And that film is They Crawl. They crawl, they creep, they kill. A computer whiz named Bean, B-E-A-N, Bean, is among several people found dead with strange striations, odd puncture wounds, and missing internal organs. Bean's brother Ted, played by Daniel Cosgrove, teams up with Detective Gina, played by Tamara Davies, to get to the bottom of it. With the help of a computer hacker, they find a blueprint that reveals the killer who has been terrorizing the city, a rampaging posse of genetically mutated cockroaches. This had to have come out in the late 90s, early 2000s because it has a hacker in it. Oh my gosh.
Large.
Oh, yes, you better believe it.
And this looks like, the guy on the front there looks like Tom Hanks. Yep, I was right, it came out in 2001. That makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I'm assuming this is gonna be very much like Spiders, where there's a bunch of cockroaches and then at the end there's one giant cockroach that they have to kill.
Mother of God.
Oh, it's Canadian Home Video. This is 88 minutes long and it's from Lionsgate Home Entertainment. They crawl.
They crawl. We human beings were an interesting species. I mean, me personally, I'd just rather be a cockroach.
Up next we have another classic, and that is Slaughterhouse Rock. Alcatraz. For 39 years it held society's most depraved killers. Now it's home to something even worse.
That monster that I let loose is indestructible. All those souls are the source of his power.
Alex Gardner, played by Nicholas Solozzi from Risky Business, has hopes and dreams like any other college student, only his dreams are killing him. Literally. After a hellish nightmare, he wakes up to find his bed on fire, the same bed that was burning in his dream. Haunted by terrifying visions of a prison-like fortress, Alex is not only fearing for his sanity, but for his life as well. Convinced that a tortured spirit on Alcatraz is communicating with him, dream specialist Carolyn Harding, played by Donna Denton from Nashville, persuades Alex and his friends to pay a visit to the now deserted prison to confront the sadistic ghost. Shot on location at the actual Alcatraz Island prison, experience the horror as Alex and his friends confront the spirit of missing rock star Sammy Mitchell, played by Tony Basil, and enter a vicious bloodbath with the Commandant, played by Al Fleming. This came out in 1987 or 1988, and it's approximately 90 minutes.
Alex, things like this don't happen by accident.
And this is just a great VHS cover. I remember seeing this all the time in the video store as a kid. Killer soundtrack by Devo. 1987 Silver something award, the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror. But no, this should be a very interesting one to watch.
His head starts spinning around, I'm out of here.
Power of Christ compels you.
It's a rock and roll horror movie. If you don't know who Tony Basil was, she did the song Mickey, and the video with the cheerleader outfits. Slaughterhouse Rock. And we're down to our final tape of this entire huge vacation haul. And that tape is Extra 2.
Respiration is getting faster.
Back off from it. Back off until we can scan it.
I have the original Extra on the shelf behind me. I have not seen the second one, so this should be very interesting. It says part alien, part predator, all terror. Extra 2, the second encounter. This stars Jan Michael Vincent, Paul Koslow, Tara Buckman. It's directed by Harry Bromley Davenport. It's hungry and it's back for seconds. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of text on here. This came out in 1991. The first time it was one family. Now it's come back for all of us. Jan Michael Vincent stars in this startling sequel to the sci-fi classic. A terrifying action thriller about an alien predator on a killing rampage. Deep below the Rocky Mountains lies a top-secret U.S. defense facility. Here, scientists research the dangerous practice of transporting humans to a parallel dimension. And here, something has gone terribly wrong, like it always does. A scientist has returned from an interdimensional travel experiment, mysteriously infected. Soon the scientist violently spawns a voraciously hungry alien being, one capable of regenerating itself over and over through a human host. The computers have sealed the contaminated, there's a lot of quotation marks in this, contaminated facility, effectively trapping its inhabitants with the ultimate human predator. Now it's a fight to the death and For the Future of Humanity, rated R, 92 minutes. So this kind of sounds like where, kind of like how the original Aliens was a psychological horror and the original Extra was kind of a psychological horror. Now the sequel has been turned into an action movie. Yeah, here's Jan Michael Vincent holding a big giant gun.
That thing's in the air shaft with you.
Oh, here we go. The sequel has nothing to do with the original Extra. Surprise, surprise. This is because director Harry Bromley Davenport somehow retained the rights to the name Extra, but not the story rights. Needing money, he enlisted writers to write a completely different film and only used the Extra name to capitalize on the cult success of the original. That explains a lot.
He's hungry, and he's back for seconds.
And the director evidently hates this and only made it for the money. It's funny how so many things get made because of that. Extra 2.
Extra 2, the second encounter.
Well, that is going to do it for part 3 and the entirety of Vacation VHS Haul. I hope you enjoyed it. We looked at a lot of tapes, lots of different stuff. Some interesting, some stupid, some that just kind of falls in between. Well, that's going to do it for this video. Until next time, this is Lindsay signing off. I'll check you later.